Guys and girls, this is jerningham, ladies and gentlemen. Russian jet fires missile near RAF plans, or planes, I should say, in the Black Sea against the British to keep away. The Russians have fired. This could cause conflict. World War III with Russia and UK. It's not the first time the Russians have done this. When the British have gone through Russian water and they say it was their water, the British, and then they started firing stuff, and then the Russians said they fired. But let's watch this and see what you guys and girls and ladies and gentlemen think about this. Is it wrong what they're doing, or is it just warning signs, or does Putin want war with the UK? Is this why he's doing it on purpose? This is Downing Street, UK.
News that's come out of Parliament today. In the last few minutes, the Defence Secretary Ben Wallace has been speaking in the Commons about Ukraine and an incident involving an RAF aircraft and Russian fighter jets. So here's what he said.
An unarmed RAF RC-135 rivet joint, a civilian I-Star aircraft on routine patrol over the Black Sea, was interacted with by two Russian armed Su-27 fighter aircraft. It is not unusual for aircraft to be shadowed, and this day was no different. During that interaction, however, it transpired that one of the Su-27 aircraft released a missile in the vicinity of the RAF rivet joint beyond visual range. The total time of the interaction between the Russian aircraft and the rivet joint was approximately 90 minutes. The patrol completed and the aircraft returned to its base. In light of this potentially dangerous engagement, I have communicated my concerns directly to my Russian counterpart, Defense Minister Shoigu, and the Chief of Defense Staff in Moscow, and has done so. My colleague, the Chief of Defense Staff, has also communicated his concerns. In my letter,
Well, let's get some reaction now from our security and defence editor, Deborah Haynes, who's in the newsroom for us. So, Deborah, what should we make of this incident then?
It's very serious. Excuse my voice, I've lost it a little bit. But it just shows that while the Defence Secretary, he's still speaking in Parliament at the moment, he says that the UK doesn't consider this to be a deliberate escalation by the Russians, and that the analysis suggests that this was more of a malfunction. It does underline the risks that you have of a mistaken escalation.
Well, mistaken escalation.
Incident when you have a lot of military aircraft, military operations taking place around Ukraine. Of course, the UK is not directly involved in the war in Ukraine. It's got, in terms of troops on the ground and aircraft and jets involved directly in the conflict. The UK, like other Western allies, has been supplying the Ukrainian armed forces with weapons for them to fight. But at the same time, you have a lot of Russian aircraft that are directly engaged in this war. Clearly, they are using the airspace around Ukraine. Ukraine is part of Europe, and therefore you also have quite legitimately UK and other NATO aircraft and jets operating in the Black Sea area, around the area, the Baltics, around this whole war zone in Ukraine, not directly in Ukraine, but if you have the two sides operating in that area, then the potential for some kind of mistake obviously rises. And that seems to be what the Defence Secretary is suggesting happened on the 29th of September. He said that these two Russian fighter jets were sort of shadowing the British spy plane as it was conducting this routine patrol, and it took the whole interaction. That is normal. You often have, when Russian jets come close to buzzing UK airspace, the UK will scramble jets to accompany them. But it seems during the course of this interaction, which lasted about an hour and a half, a missile was released by one of the Russian jets in the vicinity of the UK warplane. It seems it was a malfunction, but it does show that it could have been something much worse, and clearly it's a serious incident, and that's why.
How can it be a malfunction? It's happened before. They always say that, but anyway, what do you guys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, think it's true or false what they're saying? Well, let's cover our own backs. Thanks for joining this video. See you in the next one. Take it easy, peace.